This is tour guide Nosson Shulman. Let's take a virtual tour in Israel together. This week, we explore a holy site that is very dear to the hearts of the Jewish people, the Tomb of Rachel. While this site is very popular with Orthodox Jewish tourists who come to pray, unfortunately, it is seldom on the itineraries of Christians or non-religious Jewish groups coming to the Holy Land. In my opinion, this site should be on almost everyone's itineraries, and that is why I bring you here today. Regardless of your background, the prayers said here have extra meaning for everyone, so follow me. As you can see, we are surrounded on both sides by high concrete walls. What's on the other side? The city of Bethlehem. For millennia, until 2005, there was no wall separating this site, and to say it was exquisite is an understatement. Unfortunately, in the 1980s, 90s, and early 2000s, Arab terrorists from Bethlehem targeted Jewish worshippers, including women and children, by shooting at them. Because of this wall, this site is safe from snipers and considered very safe. Although the wall is not as pretty as the open scenery was, the holiness of this site has not been diminished, and as you can see, it provides a learning experience regarding the unique security issues Israel faces from hostile elements. Now let's walk into the building and look to your right. You see the dedicated students of the full-time Kollel, which is a Talmudic academy for advanced Torah studies, and they learn here almost every day. In front of you, you can also see a counter with plenty of free snacks and refreshing drinks provided to the thousands of people who come daily to pray. What makes this place so extraordinary that thousands of people come here daily to pray? Well, let's turn the corner together. Do you see that tomb? That is where the biblical Jewish matriarch Rachel is buried. She was Jacob's favorite wife. Wanting to marry her, he asked her father, Laban, a notorious swindler, for Rachel's hand in marriage. Laban told Jacob that he would have to work for him for 7 years, and only then would he be granted permission for the marriage. After the 7 years, they began planning the wedding, but Jacob had an inkling that Laban would alter the deal in some way. He knew that his future father-in-law wanted him to marry Leah, Rachel's sister. Due to his suspicions, he gave Rachel 3 secret passwords to confirm that when they were under the chuppah, which is a traditional canopy in which Jewish weddings take place, it would indeed be her. The Bible shows that his fears were well-founded, because during the wedding, Laban made the hall dark and brought out Leah in a veil that covered her face. The veil alone wouldn't have aroused any suspicions, because even now, Jewish women wear a veil at their weddings. Rachel really wanted to marry Jacob, but faced with her older sister about to be utterly humiliated in front of the whole town, she selflessly gave her sister the passwords. She then took it a step further. At night, she hid under the bed, speaking with Jacob so that he would hear her voice and think it was her. That was Rachel's greatness, sacrificing her greatest desire so as not to humiliate someone at extreme personal cost. As we will soon see, this act makes the prayers at this holy site extra special. When morning came, Jacob saw that he had been deceived and confronted his father-in-law. Laban said brazenly, "Such is not done in our place, to give the younger before the older," before adding that he would gladly grant him Rachel's hand in marriage in 1 more week, if Jacob provided him with another 7 years of service. After fulfilling his commitments to Laban, Jacob took his 11 kids and wives and returned to Israel. One of them, Rachel, was in late-term pregnancy. After staying some time in Shem, today's Nablus, they went southward along today's Highway 60. After they passed Jerusalem and were at this very spot, Rachel went into labor. Although her son Benjamin was born healthy, she died giving birth and is buried here in this tomb. Now, I can see you look surprised and are probably thinking, why would Jacob bury the person he most loved over here just because she died here? Why couldn't he just wait a little longer and bring her to a proper burial spot like he and Leah would later have in Hebron? The question was also on Joseph's mind, who was Rachel's son. When Jacob was on his deathbed, he gave him an answer. According to Jewish sources, he explained that her burial was not random at all, but divinely ordained from above. Jacob prophesied that in the future, his descendants would be exiled by Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylonia, and en route, they would pray here that they would survive exile and eventually return. Rachel's soul then pleaded with God with heavy tears, and God accepted them, saying, "Restrain your voice from weeping and your eyes from tears, for there is reward in your accomplishment. and they will return one day from the enemy's land. There's hope for your future, and your children will return to their border. In other words, because of Rachel's prayers, God promised that the Jewish people would return to their land, a process we see happening right now. Another question arises. Why did the prayers have to be at her tomb, as opposed to another righteous person's graves? According to Jewish sources, God was upset with idol worship and told Jeremiah the prophet to pray for his children's mercy. He went to the grave of Abraham, who interjected, but God rejected his prayers. The same happened with Isaac, Jacob, and even Moses, whom the Bible calls the greatest prophet of all time. But when Jeremiah went to Rachel's grave, Rachel said, "Master of the universe, it is well known to you that your servant Jacob loved me and worked 7 years on my behalf. When my father decided to give him my sister instead of me, I found myself in a very difficult situation. I had pity on my sister and revealed the secret passwords so she wouldn't be put to public shame. I am only human. Nonetheless, I brought a rival into my house, but you are the eternal living God. Why should you be jealous of meaningless idols?" Because of what Rachel had done, she was the only one in a position to make that request from God, and that is why she needed to be buried at this location by the side of the road. Now that you have seen and experienced the holiness of the prayers, let us go and pray together at her tomb. For more information on how you can tour Israel's off-the-beaten-track biblical site like Rachel's tomb, visit guidedtoursofisrael.com. This is tour guide Nosson Shulman for your INTR Exploring Israel virtual tours. Look us up at guidedtoursofisrael.com.